Thank, thank you, Chandri. I know we got started a little bit late, and what I'd like to do now in the next maybe 5-10 minutes is really open it up to you, the audience, and give you an opportunity to ask our panelists some questions about things that they're doing, things that provoked you, that you heard about them talk about, things that excited you during their conversations. Yes, Suzanne.
Absolutely. I think so. We are focusing on girls age 6th grade to 12th grade throughout our clubs and summer immersion programs. But in terms of our specific efforts, we have been trying to do more to engage parents. So while we've had, for example, in our summer programs, we have like an open house and graduation where they can come see what the girls are doing. I'd like to engage parents further by, say, doing like a coding workshop with them during the course of the summer, or doing something during our clubs program during the year. But there are also a ton of other really fantastic organizations that are doing work specifically for women. So if you're interested in taking a few months off to learn how to be a software engineer, like Hackbright Academy is doing some fantastic work. Women Who Code. There's a great community online that I'm a part of called Sisters, which is part of the Anita Borg Institute, which is a community of technical women. So there are a ton of really great resources out there. We are focused on that 6th to 12th grade currently, but trying to work to engage more parents and also work with those other partner organizations that are focusing on women learning. Yeah, thanks.
So I think what Suzanne is talking about is really lifelong learning. And so for adults, there's not only some of the organizations that Emily talked about. NJIT, through our continuing professional education organization, offers a number of classes. I know a couple of people who are here who are involved with one of our upskill retraining programs where we're helping mid-career displaced IT professionals learn some new skills to help them get back into the workforce. And then there's a whole lot of MOOCs, which are the massively online courses that you can sign up almost for free to be able to learn some of these skills. I mean, unfortunately, some of the stats with the MOOCs are that people kind of get started with them and don't finish them because they don't have that community to help kind of push people forward with them. Some other questions? Yes.
So, like I said, I'm really a part of a family that is super sexist, and I feel like I'm born in the wrong family because I'm a feminist. But what I personally do is, I'll let them finish their thought, and then I'll be like, wait, hold on, I have something to say. It's really important for women to stand up. A lot of times, even myself, sometimes when we touch someone by mistake, we say sorry. Or, when we're trying to talk to someone, we'll knock and say, sorry for interrupting. No, you're not sorry. It was by mistake, you're not. So the whole thing is confidence and, just standing up and saying, hey, I have something to say and I want you to hear, and I want to make sure you hear it. And I think that's the way I have dealt with my peers trying to not let me finish my thoughts.
I think our Human Resources Vice President Kay Turner has some comments on that thought as well.
Well, one of the things that I wanted
and students. And I think one of the other things as supervisors, as managers, we have a responsibility if we're running a meeting and we see that somebody is getting cut off and didn't get a chance to finish their thought, or they say something and then 3 minutes later somebody else presents that same idea, go back and remind them, yes, that was Susan's idea. Mm-hmm. Yes, we all agree that that was a good thing to move forward with.
I completely agree with that. A lot of times, I'm part of this group on Facebook called the National Center of Women in Information Technology. And, a lot of times we don't do our research before we accept a job offer. We're like, wow, that sounds great, and this is an incredible opportunity, and we just take our salary as a side note. But it's really important for women to do their research, especially now with all the technology that we have. It's so easy to just go online and see how much a position pays. And I think it's really important to do that, and also to speak to your peers, especially your female peers, about what their thoughts and what are they making compared to the male peers is also very important. And I'm pretty sure it's illegal for them to pay us less. But don't quote me on that.
If I could just also comment, because I think what we're talking about now is actually part of the conversation that sometimes gets amplified in different ways using different voices. But you asking the question in the way, this is a real question that women face, and it gets, sort of sometimes characterized as a big concept like the gender gap, right? But what we're really talking about are different fundamental aspects of the problem. How does one in that situation deal with it when you have to choose between feeding your kids, paying your rent, taking the job or not? And so what we want to do, I think, in this room is realize that each of these questions that we're asking are aspects of a problem, and create a mechanism for a feedback on that problem, and how does that work? Is it role play? Do we have role play sessions? And the other thing is it's not always intentional. There was a research study done relatively recently on performance, women and men in different workplaces. And very often when people looked at the performance reviews, for men, the idea is men who were sort of aggressive were celebrated, whereas women were regarded as being abrasive, right? So when asking for something, when negotiating, and when we encourage others to negotiate as a simple matter, it's really not that simple, because you're negotiating in a context in which people are saying, who are you, how dare you? So we need to understand that as well, and that's why this itself is a big X problem, because a big X problem is something that just can't be solved by saying, just do a quick negotiation lesson. It's bigger than that, and there are interdependencies, especially for people disproportionately affected and not necessarily having viable options for other economic alternatives. So we need to sort of rebuild the ship and build new ships at the same time that we're sailing.
I want to say something for those of you in the room that may be a little bit younger than I am, that no social movement is successful without struggle. And don't be afraid of the struggle. Civil rights, gay rights, women's voting, don't be afraid of the struggle. Women like to be pretty and demure. Nothing will come without struggle. So get out there, be seen, be heard, stop being pretty, stop being polite, and be heard. If you think about gay rights and how quickly that has changed in this country, why? Think about what happened at the outbreak of AIDS. Think about those pioneers that went out in the street and fought and screamed and went to jail to fight for their rights. Same thing, it's not going to be happy, but it's not going to happen by saying, yes, sir, thank you, sir. Don't be afraid of the struggle. It's about struggle.